What's up, guys? I got a lot of requests to do this video, and so I'm going to do it. Okay. Well, what I've been asked by, there's been several people, a lot of them IRL, and a couple online is, like why video games? You know what I mean? Like you used to do all this like bodybuilding, you used to do this, you used to do this, like, like you've been to college for 6 years. Like, why video games? What about video games? You know what I mean? Like everybody's so condescending about video games. So what I wanted to do is just kind of give you guys like the history of my video games, okay, and like what's progressed me to this point, kind of going through and just seeing kind of the different things that I've been through to kind of make the kind of the history of Big Nash gaming, if you will. Okay. The I used to play. I remember the very first video game I ever played was, the Atari, like the Asteroids game, right? That was pretty much a Pac-Man, right? Like that was like the first like video games that I played, and I was never really hooked until I got like the Nintendo like Duck Hunt. I remember Duck Hunt was one of the first games I ever played, and then that track game where you had the pad where you had to like race against Cheetah and do hurdles and all that stuff. Like that game was sweet. And that was when I was like a little kid. Like that was like some of my first memories of video games, was back then, and that's why I started. And I always, had like I had to have the new system. I had to have all the games. Like I loved it. And then after that, Nintendo. I was semi into Nintendo. I had quite a few games, Contra, Super Mario, all those track games, Duck Hunt, that motorcycle game where you made your own dirt tracks. That game was really cool. I remember that game as a kid. But then like Sega, and like this was like the next like kind of generation was when Sega came out. I remember like we would all go down to my cousin's house, and every time we go down there, like we would play Tecmo Super Bowl for hours. And that was like that cool like 8-bit game pretty much where like, like Barry Sanders and Emmett Smith and Ricky Waters and like all this stuff. And like, that was like one of the coolest games, like NBA Jam TE. I don't know if you remember that game, like the full court dunks, he's on fire, the 10-point shots. I mean, just like some of the coolest game, playing with Jordan and Pippen against like Shaq and Penny. Like those games, like, that's what I grew up playing. And then like after that, like N64, PlayStation 1, Xbox, probably one of the biggest games I remember from back then was Final Fantasy VII. I remember like being in, gosh, what was I, probably 5th or 6th grade or something like that when Final Fantasy VII first came out. And like that was back when, before YouTube, like we had strategy guides, like, who had the best strategy guide? Like, oh, well, this one tells me to do this one tells me to do this. And now you don't really see many strategy guys sold, guys, because there's YouTube. Okay, like YouTube has like single-handedly destroyed that market, because now you can go online and find out exactly how to do everything in a strategy guide, right? So that's kind of what I like to do, is like these games, like I was enamored with as a kid. Final Fantasy VII, I remember like farming and farming and farming. That was like the first game I had to farm for the gold chocobo so I could get that king spell. Like I remember doing all that stuff, like, and that was really, really cool to me. Madden, when those games first came out, that was really neat. I remember, oh gosh, what were some, Metal Gear Solid, like the very first one that came out. Games like that. And then it kind of went on to the second gen, like Xbox. When Xbox 360 came out and PS3 came out, I remember when I first went to college, like my freshman year was like we all started college, and like I think it was like the week before or like that week where we all moved in to our dorms at Central. I went to CMU, if you didn't know. But we like all lived in this dorm, right? We had 5 guys living in a 4-person dorm, because it was so packed, and like so we had an overflow, so we all got a huge discount if we put up with it. But like it was like literally like 5 guys living in a room, probably half the size of, like, I mean, it's a typical dorm room. If you don't know what a dorm room is, go to a college, ask what a dorm room is. Put 5 guys in a 4-bedroom, it's tight living quarters, right? So we all had one big ass red couch, right? Andy's big couch. And what we would do is like you could play Halo 2 over like the VPN, right? So over the private network of Central, you didn't have to have Xbox Live. You could play over the network of Central against other people at Central in the dorms. And it got so big that like we would do like entire campus community events, like Halo tournaments, like in the residence halls, because it was such a huge thing. Like, and this was the kind of the first time that I realized like how cool this community of people was, like how cool gamers are, because it was the first time like you go and you put a name tag on with your screen name, you know, and people come up to you, oh, dude, you're Captain Jack Sparrow, oh, you're Skeet, or oh, you're Agent Sensation, or oh, you're, you know what I mean, like all these guys who we had that were just like these like elite guys, and like you would always be like, okay, well, I like this guy, and he's a cool dude, and he's a cool dude. Well, then like you finally got to put like a face to him, and you see him around campus, and you call him by their tag name. And that was kind of like the first, like, you know, and then you always had that like little bit of stardom too, like, because there was a couple guys who you'd be like, oh, is that, I'm pretty sure that's, oh man, he's like a legend, dude, like I remember yesterday he smoked me, and like blah blah blah. And it was a really like cool event, like just on that level. And it was kind of the first time that I had ever realized just kind of how big that was. You know, but and that was with Halo 2. And that's part of the reason that I want to play Halo 4, is because I miss some of those glory days, and a lot of my friends who I used to play with back then, you know, some still play, some don't, but you know, it's so much fun to play some of those games, and like the camaraderie, you know, just the team atmosphere of it. It's a really, really neat situation. And then kind of the World of Warcraft thing, how that came about, was I was doing bodybuilding shows, and I couldn't, like, and I was at a drink, like, if you don't know what Central Michigan is, it's like a drinking school, okay? Like, it's a party school. Like, there's a casino, there's a university, and then there's farms in every direction. There's no, like, there's nothing else to do. Like, that's pretty much what you've got to do. It's like an hour north of Michigan State University, if you know where that is. Look it up if you don't. But like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a huge place, so you can go to other schools or whatever, but it was a lot of fun. But I remember, like, I was bartending, and I couldn't drink because I was training for these shows, and like, you know, I'm just like going nuts. I'm like, dude, it sucks. Like, all my friends are out, like, it's St. Patty's Day, and I'm sitting at home. Well, one of my other bartenders who I worked with, and he's actually still one of my best friends to this day, and probably, and you know, I still raid with him. He's my raid leader, actually. Like, I've known this guy for a long, long time. He's been playing, you know, forever. And he's like, well, dude, try this game out, man. Come play with me. It's like blah 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 blah. And I was like, whatever, dude. Like, I've never, you know, it's a couple years old. I've heard of it. I'd never really, you know, got into it. Never even played it. Started playing, obviously. Was immediately hooked. And that was, what, 4 or 5 years ago now. And that's, you know, kind of how it's progressed until the place we are now. But literally, guys, like, I played, like, every system growing up. You know what I mean? Like, from Sonic to WoW to Call of Duty, like Halo, Mario, all these games, man. It was just so much fun. And that's kind of how I've got into it, is I've always been good at video games. And it's always been something that occupies my time, keeps me out of trouble. And it really is a great social tool. You do learn a lot of things, like a lot of things that I use in my real life jobs. Are skills that I've learned from video games, from World of Warcraft, from how to work together, how to strategize, how to get the, you know what I mean, how to do your best, picking up tips and tricks, picking up ways to, you know, cheese the meters, so to speak. You know, that's what it's all about, is being able to take real life experiences to games, and take games back to real life experiences. It's such a cool thing to see where our society is going with this. And it's just a surreal thing that now I'm able to literally do this. And so I wanted to bring this video to you guys. I know I had a lot of people that were really curious as to just kind of some of the history of it and everything. And so I wanted to give that video to you guys. So thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting me. Again, I want to hit 100 subscribers before Miss, guys. We got 2 weeks. We're halfway there. Is as soon as we hit 100, I'm going to give away a shirt. I'm going to do it. I've decided. As soon as we hit 100 subscribers, I'm going to make a 100 subscriber thank you video where we're giving away a shirt, and that's all there is to it. So help me out, like, subscribe, and yeah, guys, I just wanted to kind of give you this information, and we'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for watching.